Hi everybody! I'm glad you made it through to this bonus section of this DVD. Let me tell you something about my musical career and how everything developed. With the age of 4 I started to learn to play the accordion, and my grandpa told me how to do this. I just tried to watch him and hear what he played and try to imitate him. My parents then bought me a little drum kit for kids, and I made my first experiences with rhythm with that one. Later on I studied to play classical piano at the Conservatorium in Mainz, and there also I learned to play keyboards and percussions. And then I focused on jazz music because it gave me the freedom of improvising, and that was what I enjoyed most. After one of my best friends showed me the first tapes and records in 1991, I felt very interested with this kind of music, and I went to Sven Väth's legendary Fridays at the Omen Club in Frankfurt, and there I really felt the impact of this music, and I felt that I want to be a part of this one and to express myself with techno music. So the problem was that I actually didn't know how to do it and how to get in contact with this scene and how to make my first steps. So I started buying records at the record store Now store from Andy Dux, and he was so kind to open me the doors to his studio, and yeah, that was very exciting for me because a lot of famous artists released their tracks on Overdrive Records and produced their releases there. And yeah, I went there as often as I could to learn how things go in the studio and how things work there. And they had a really big analog mixing console. To be honest, that were too many knobs for me, so I did not really know how to use all these instruments and all the equipment. So I decided to join the SAE school in Frankfurt to study audio engineering. After 1 year of sending out demo tapes to the different record labels, then in 1995 I succeeded in releasing my first vinyl on Energized Records called Forces of Nature. And this label also released the track Space Rock Follow Me, which became a worldwide club hit. Yeah, and I was a member of that group, so that meant that we had a lot of gigs, a lot of TV shows. We had gigs in New York and all around Europe. And that was really a great time, of course. We were the coolest group around, and also the girls liked this project a lot. In 1998 I had the opportunity to play my first sets at the Club Palazzo in Bingen, which became quite famous at that time. And I was a resident there till the closing in the year 2003. So that was actually a really important time for me, because there I had the opportunity to develop a sense for the audience and how to do that, how to play a set with tension and how the records belong together. I played a lot of warm-up sets before the headliners, and yeah. And one of the main things in the Palazzo I remember was when there is showtime, there is showtime. No matter if you are drunk or anything else, and that headline still stays in my head. When there is showtime, there is showtime, and that's what I try to do even nowadays. When I go out on stage, then it's showtime. Then I try to give the best I can for the audience and for me. Also in this club, then I founded a resident night together with Sascha Krohn called Tanz der Familie. And this event still takes place nowadays. After it became clear that the Palazzo would close its doors sooner or later, that forced me to really concentrate on my production so I can continue my DJ career. That was the time when I founded the two labels, Beatdisaster and Masters of Disaster, together with Udo Niebergal, who was the owner of the Palazzo Club in the past. And yeah, those labels became quite successful, and we had a lot of famous releases, and the DJ enjoyed these records a lot. We had releases of Chris Leaving, of Gail San, of The Advent, of Rush, and yeah, that was a good start. In 2003, I released my most famous record called Ciao. Also, I did the production Tube Take The End together with those guys.
This is the end, my only friend, the end.
This record, The End, entered all the club charts and also the German sales charts and became a worldwide club hit. Actually, that was a time when I released a lot of records on different labels, like CLR, the label of Chris Leaving, on Terminal M, the label of Monica Kruse and Kidas FM. And yeah, I also did a lot of remixes, for example, for The Advent, for Mauro Picotto. And yeah, that was a great time. I was really into this production process, and the beat was pounding. I did my first album in the year 2005 called Slave to the Beat on Terminal M Records, and my second album in 2007 called Let's Go Techno. And this album featured a spoken intro about techno music and about the impact of techno music. And that one became real famous, and the DJs played it a lot, and still when I play somewhere, the people scream and shout, "Let's go techno!" So that became my motto in a headline, and that was quite cool. And last but not least, I did an album in 2008 together with Felix Krescher called Connected, and we also had a great tour together and a good time. All these releases opened me the doors to worldwide DJing and to DJ tours, including South America. I played a lot of times in Brazil and Venezuela, also all around Europe and Russia. At that time I had this crazy haircut with the red hair, as you can see. And I also had always had this little electronic drum kit with me, a kind of a sampling pad where I put my own sounds in it, and I played some fill-ins and some rhythms, and that became quite successful, and the people really enjoyed that and really loved that, and from that time on I never go out on stage without my little drum kit. At Nature One in the year 2009, I brought the live performance to the next level, integrating more instruments like an Australian didgeridoo, and I built up a percussion setup on stage, including congas and timbales and some crash and rides. And I also used electronic accordion and played some sequences along my song Tanz der Familie. And I think that was a great show, and it was a nice picture on stage. And that's what I try to add and what I try to give to the people. A little bit more than only DJing, but having a great show on stage also. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip through my past, and I also hope to see you somewhere on my tour. What else can I say? Stay tuned to techno music and always remember, let's go techno!